Hi, I'm Dr. Rahi Victory, the Medical Director of Victory Reproductive Program, and you're watching this video because you've elected to ship your sperm from your location to Victory Reproductive Care for us to use in helping you build your family. We've created this video in order to make it easier for you to go through the steps necessary to safely and securely acquire all of the biological specimens that you need and ship them to us at Victory Reproductive Care for us to get ready in creating the family that you've always dreamed of. So the first thing we're going to look at is the fact that you will receive two separate shipments. On my right, you see here we have this lovely Credo cube, and it says Credo cube right on the box. This will come inside of a bigger cardboard box, and you just pull this out of that larger cardboard box. On my left, we have a dry shipper tank. Inside this is the tank which your sperm samples will go into and which has liquid nitrogen in it. So please do not tip this over because you don't want any of the contents spilling out. To begin with, all you're going to need is a pair of pliers or wire cutters, because we're going to end up eventually cutting this blue holder, and this is very stiff, so it will dull scissors. You probably need something a little stronger than just scissors for that. So step one, you're going to actually open your Credo cube. So the Credo cube has a little tab where you can pull it back. Once you've pulled it back, simply lift the lid, and inside you will see that there is this lovely gray insulation. You can simply put that down, and then you'll see inside further, and I can tip that for you to look at. There are these little plates. So these should still be cold to touch. You simply remove them, and you can remove the top one, and then subsequently when the box is empty, remove all the other ones, put them in your refrigerator. Do not put them in your freezer, simply put them in your refrigerator. Inside the package, you will find an envelope with instructions. You will find a vial of sperm freezing media. You will find a sperm collection tube with 4 smaller vials. You will find 2 of the ties and 2 syringes, and you will find another vial for urine collection with a yellow tube inside of it, and then you will find a whole series of tubes which are for blood collection. And so I am going to lay these all out so you can see exactly what it looks like when we've put these all out and laid them all out for you, so you can see the whole setup. So as you can see, we have now taken out all of the Credo cube plates, and these are called PCM coolants. So you're going to take all 6 of these, make sure you've got all 6, including the base, and put them in your refrigerator. I'm just going to move them aside so you can see the rest of what we have ready here. So these are all the contents of your Credo cube. You've got 1 orange top container and yellow tube for urine collection. You've got a vial of the sperm freezing media. You have 9 purple top tubes and 1 yellow top tube, as well as matching number of 9 vials back here. So these ones are for transfer of the blood, and your lab will deal with that. You have a sperm collection cup, as well as the 4 cryo vials. You have 2 syringes, and you have a pipette. All of these are the ones that are listed in your instructions. Please remember to keep your Credo cube box intact and safe in a place where it will not get damaged, because you will need it to ship the package back to us, and only this box can be used for that purpose. So the first step, after you've opened up all of your contents, is for you to arrange for the blood test to be done. So either on a Friday or a Monday, arrange for getting your blood drawn. They will need to fill all 9 of these purple top tubes, as well as the 1 yellow top tube. Inside your envelope are instructions for you to provide to the lab, as well as your instructions. Those instructions must be given to your receiving lab, and they will go through it and know exactly how to manage your blood draw according to our specifications. If they fail to draw the blood in accordance with the specifications necessary, we will not be able to process the blood, and you will need to reship a new set of blood tests. So these white vials or clear vials go with those other ones. You must take all of these vials to the lab when you are getting your blood drawn. Make sure before you go for your blood draw that you have had plenty of water and something to eat in case you feel faint at the time of the blood draw. It won't significantly impact your results that we need, and we want you feeling safe and not dizzy or lightheaded after the blood draw. For the urine collection procedure, again on the Monday, simply urinate in this cup and then pour off enough to nearly fill this tube. You can see there are two black hatch marks, and you want it filled to precisely between those two hatch marks. And then close that and close this. Make sure that both lids are tightly secure because leakage can invalidate the entire specimen. Make sure it's on tight, make sure this one is on tight, and those two can then be placed in a biohazard bag that they originally came with and put back in the Credo Cube box. In order to prepare for your sperm sample, the first thing we need you to do is abstain from ejaculation for 2 to 3 days prior to providing your sample, which has to be done on the Monday again. So make sure that from Friday until Monday you have not ejaculated, and be ready to ship all of these contents to us on the Monday. We will need you to ejaculate on the Monday morning as well. Make sure that you have thoroughly cleansed your genitals, including the penile head, with soap and water to make sure it is completely clean and free of any debris or bacteria before producing your sample. You are simply going to allow masturbation without any lubricant in order to produce your sample, and you want to ejaculate into the other orange cup. So not the one for the urine, but the other orange cup, and simply put it in there. Using the lid, simply screw it on and let your sample sit at room temperature for about 30 minutes before you do anything at all to it. Every once in a while, give it a little swirl. That'll help it to loosen up. You want it to break up its viscosity. Once you have waited the 30 minutes, use the sterile syringe contained here to simply draw up the volume of ejaculate and measure how much you've got. Most people will not have more than 5 mils, and you actually don't need that much anyways, so you're simply using this to determine how much volume you have. Then you want to use the same amount of the sperm freezing media that you will draw up with the other syringe. This syringe simply fits into this little container. You draw up the same amount. The maximum amount that you are going to want is about 3 milliliters. So if you have 2 milliliters of ejaculate, you're going to pull up 2 milliliters of this fluid with the other vial. The other syringe, it also is marked. You simply put it in and pull up 2 milliliters. So we're going to grab a little bit of milk in order to demonstrate how the next step works. Okay, so as you can see in this vial, we have our sample at the bottom, and we are simply going to pull up the sample with the syringe. So looking at that, I have approximately 2 milliliters of volume of my semen, and so I'm just going to simply put that back gently into the same cup, and I'm going to let that sit. This can then sit in a clean area, or you can dispose of it if you wish. So I'm now going to open my cryo vial. This has to be kept refrigerated until you use it, and that is very, very important. So make sure you put this in the fridge along with your coolant box as soon as you receive it. So this simply goes in, and I'm now going to draw up my 2 milliliters of volume, and I now have about 2 mils of volume in my syringe. So now what you're going to do is going 1 drop at a time. I'm going super slow here, 1 to 2 drops. You're going to swirl this around with your sample that's inside the orange cup. You don't have to get too crazy with it because you don't want it spilling out over the edges. After you've swished it for a few seconds, another 1 or 2 drops. keep swishing it again, and you're going to keep doing that until you've finished all of the solution. Making sure each time by looking inside that it's properly blending together and you're getting as much coverage of the media over the semen sample as possible. And this takes time, so you got to spend a little bit of time swishing this around, making sure each time that you're getting the exact effect you want. Once you're done, you will have no further media in your syringe. So you now have the media and your full ejaculate volume in this container. Slowly draw up a maximum of 1 milliliter of volume into the syringe and pour that 1 milliliter at a time maximum into each of these cryo vials. So you simply unscrew the top, you take your sample and you slowly pour it in until you get to the point where there is 1 milliliter of volume. When you've put in the 1 milliliter of volume, you simply place the cap back on and it will shortly be ready for freezing. Once you've finished all of the ejaculate volume that you have, you can now get ready to actually put the sample into freezing, and we'll take care of that. And for those of you that noticed the little drip, this is actually coffee cream, so don't worry about it. We're not on sterile here. You can also use your transfer pipette to draw up 1 milliliter instead of the syringe. So if you prefer to use the pipette, this is designed with little hatch marks on it, which you can see if you get really close. To have markings for where 1 milliliter is, you can simply push at the top, squeeze it, put it into your sample. It will draw up the requisite amount, and then you can just flush it in 1 drop at a time. Either the syringe or the pipette are acceptable for that technique. The pipette is probably a little bit easier because you don't have to go into the tube, and therefore you can use this instead. We're now going to go ahead and open our dry shipper. So your next step is to simply cut this blue tie on your dry shipper and pull that out. They're often quite stiff, so just spend a minute getting that out of there. This is garbage, you will no longer need it. In order to open this, you simply lift the handle, twist so that it is loose, and then you can now pull it back and the top will come off. Inside you can see that we have the liquid nitrogen tank, which should be visible to you there. There is another one of the blue ties attached to the liquid nitrogen tank. It's right here on the side, and you will need to cut that one as well. Once you've cut this, you now have access to inside the tank where the liquid nitrogen is and the canister that you will be depositing your sperm samples into. Please remember that the blood vials do not go into this, only the sperm samples will go into this. Your blood vials are in a moment going to go into your Credo cube. Simply remove this top and put it head down on a clean surface. Do not touch anything inside the liquid nitrogen tank. If you contact the inside of the liquid nitrogen tank, you can get a freeze burn and it will be very painful and can cause scarring. Do not put your finger inside the tank. Only grab it from this little tab you can see here. That is the only safe portion from which to remove this. You can then lift up the tank and you'll see that. You do not need to remove it completely. Simply take whatever number of cryo vials that you have and carefully drop them in, and then simply put this back down, making sure that this aligns with the little notch. You then take your lid, you put the lid down, again making sure that it aligns with the notch. You now have your 2 twist ties. You can put that back through and then up through that hole and pull till it's secure. Inside the tank, you will also find your shipping instructions, which will have the waybill that you need to attach inside your sheet and send back. This is what you will find inside the tank. You can remove the inner tank if you need to reach down and grab it. That's perfectly fine. This will then go inside the waybill area of your FedEx package. Once you have closed everything up, you simply tighten this down until it's closed and you can tell that the top is secure. Put that down, take your second blue tie, run it through this handle so that it is going to be secure, and then simply go through there and reconnect, and that also will secure this so that it cannot open under any circumstances. You're now done with this. Now you're going to take your Credo Cube plates out of your fridge. Start with one of the Credo Cube plates and simply place it in the bottom of the box without any trouble. You then want the blue tab always facing up. So your next one will go on any one of the 4 sides that you wish, and keep going around until you've completed the 4 lateral sides of the box. These will feel cold to touch, but because they've been in your refrigerator, they are not harmful, unlike your liquid nitrogen tank. You are now going to start placing your vials of blood, which the lab should have provided you, or if they've already packaged it in your bag, make sure you place all of the blood tubes into your biohazard bag. Securely use the Ziploc at the top, make sure that it is closed, and put this inside your Credo Cube. You will next take another biohazard bag and take the urine sample, which will be contained in here, and the urine sample you poured into the yellow tube. Put them both in here. Again, securely close the lid and place this inside your Credo Cube. You no longer need to send back any other items. Your syringes and your pipette can all be thrown away, as well as the remainder of the sperm media that we gave to you. Take your final Credo Cube top and simply place this face down on top of the package. It is imperative that you take the final insulation panel with the sign that says face up, place that on top of the Credo Cube package, and simply close your Credo Cube, and you now have it safe and secure. You now simply have to take your package to FedEx, where FedEx will have everything ready for you with your dry shipper and your Credo Cube in order to return it to VRC. We hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, reach out, and we will help you and guide you through the process.